Sykunno just got exposed. Multiple women, documented receipts, even what sounds like a confession. So why did the entire internet start defending him? Because somewhere between what happened and what it got called, a completely different story emerged. And once you see how that story was built, you can't unsee it. If you don't know, Sykunno built his entire career off being the safe guy on the internet. Soft-spoken, awkward, harmless. The last person you'd expect to end up here. Which is exactly why, when multiple women came forward at once, people took it seriously. Sykunno is not the kind, soft-spoken character you see on stream. He is a serial cheater, liar, and manipulator who uses his status to get what he wants from as many women as possible. That's how the first document opens. And it doesn't stop there. The evidence list includes things like inviting someone to play games, asking where they live, following a private Instagram, making plans to meet, sexting, lying about being single. And here's where it gets strange. All of these are treated like they belong on the same level, like they're all evidence of the same system. When you read the evidence, it feels messy, but when you read the accusations, it sounds criminal. So how does that transformation happen? At first, you assume there has to be more, something worse, something hidden, because the labels being used, predator, serial manipulator, are so heavy that we instinctively look for a crime that fits the description. And as you dig into the documents, you do find darker claims. Stories of hotel rooms, intentions, and high-pressure situations that feel profoundly uncomfortable.
I shared a hotel room with Sykunno, but I didn't know that he had other intentions.
But the deeper you go, the more it feels like the language is escalating faster than the behavior. And that's when the story changes. Because now this isn't just about Sykunno. It's about how the internet builds narratives. Let's start simple. What's actually being described? We were all put in a situation where our consent was given based on a lie. No one knew he had a girlfriend and that he was messaging and sleeping with multiple girls. And that framing isn't wrong. Both the deception and the harm was real. The question isn't whether he lied. It's what category that lying belongs in. What's being described is a sustained 5-year pattern of behavior. He was juggling multiple women, using the same scripts, and offering the same apologies. In any other context, we'd call this a serial player. It's a deep, systemic character flaw, but is it a predatory system? Now, look at how it's framed. When an accuser says their consent was given based off a lie, that's a massive shift. Because in this narrative, the safe guy persona isn't just an awkward personality, it's a manipulation tactic. Now, this isn't just cheating. It's being reframed as a violation of agency. The internet doesn't see a liar anymore. It sees a consent thief. Same situation, completely different weight. I implore the many other victims to come out about their experience with this predator. This is where the narrative of predator collides with reality. And it's way less clear-cut than people think. One of the most serious claims comes from Twitch streamer Leia.
I didn't want it to happen. So instead, I just gave him oral, okay? And then when he fell asleep, I got out of bed and I just ate a banana and I was just staring out the window. I was dissociating.
She describes 30 minutes of pressure she didn't know how to navigate. She describes herself as a people pleaser. Her words, not a dismissal. Then later, a miscommunication happened.
But we were not using protection, and I'm legally hard of hearing, if you guys don't know already. But in the heat of the moment, he asked me if it was safe, and I didn't hear him. But I just said, and he finished inside of me.
In this moment, the boundary between a miscommunication and a violation becomes paper thin. She describes a sequence of events where her silence and his assumptions created a situation she didn't want. But the internet has no category for tragic messiness. It only has victim or predator. In a vacuum, this is messy. But the internet doesn't reward messy. It picks a side, and when the details are unclear, we use labels to fill in the gaps. And this is where everything clicks. The facts aren't changing, but the language is. Lying becomes manipulation. Persistence becomes coercion. Cheating becomes predatory behavior. This is linguistic inflation. The same actions, just pushed up a ladder of intensity until the words carry more weight than the evidence can support. The internet doesn't just report stories, it upgrades them. And once you realize that, you stop asking what happened and start asking how was it framed. And once you see that pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. Because Sykunno isn't the last person this will happen to. Every time the facts are real but the framing outruns them, the conversation becomes harder to have honestly, and the people with legitimate grievances get buried under language that's impossible to defend. None of this means the women weren't hurt. It means the language used to describe that hurt may have made their stories harder to believe, not easier. So yeah, Sykunno was probably a terrible boyfriend. The harm he caused was real, but the internet doesn't just report stories, it upgrades them. The internet fits the messy reality of human failure into the clean, viral demand for sensationalism. But once you see that ladder being built, you can't unsee it.